Hey, welcome back to another episode of Local Focus here on ProView Network. Sebastian Noel. We're excited to join us here. It's football week, so by the time you see this, it's almost time for kickoff. Hopefully you've been enjoying our two-a-day coverage on ProView Networks here on YouTube as well. We're trying to hit all the schools. We'll have all those previews for you. And by the time you're seeing this, you can probably go to our website at ProViewNetworks.com and check out our live schedule. Prominently featured on that live schedule is this man's opening game. I'm joined by La Cueva quarterback Dylan Summer. Dylan, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you were the very first stop on two-a-days. We got up early. We were there at 6 o'clock, bright and early, to see what you guys had. And you guys look good on day one there. Talk about your team.
We've got a great group of guys coming in this year. We've got a bunch of returning starters, even though it doesn't really seem like it since we had a bunch of guys everybody was talking about last year. But we're very confident with what we have this year and feel good going into the season.
Is it easy as a quarterback to think, oh, shoot, where's Reese Wilkinson? That's got to be something you have to fight yourself to not do often, right?
I mean, every year you got to find the guy, and that was him last year. We're trying to find the guy this year.
And you get a sneak peek at who do you think the guy is, or keep that under wraps till week one? Or, I mean, is there anyone you've clicked with during passing academy and things like that?
I mean, I like all the guys. They're all good receivers.
That's a polished quarterback answer right there. You're good. You're good. Talk about your running back situation there. Obviously, that's going to be a strength of the team, right?
Yeah, we got Noah Woisen and my boy DeAndre. So they're both working hard. They're both big, strong, athletic dudes. So we'll see what happens there.
Now, Noah, do you think he's going to bulk up, be as big as his brother? Because his brother was huge.
I think Noah's probably about as strong as his brother was already. So we'll see if he gets heavier like Josh. But
obviously at La Cueva, there's always that extra expectation, right? The expectations there are, I don't want to say abnormally high, but it seems that they're just every year it's a championship, and the amount of parent involvement and everyone's all in on the program, does that weigh heavy on your shoulders, or is that just something more that maybe the coaches feel and you guys don't?
It's definitely a coach back thing. I feel very little pressure from the community and all that about high expectations. I'm sure he does because he's been here longer than I have. So
when you have a La Cueva where, you know, every Yaffle team wins the Super Bowl and things like that, obviously that makes for some big pressure, right? Or some big expectations.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got parents who want to be involved in everything, and everybody's super into the football team at La Cueva, so all the parents are expecting good things every year.
And then there's just you guys doing your thing, right? You guys try to block all that out, obviously.
Well, I mean, like during the season, we go to school, go to practice, come home, we eat and go to bed, pretty much. So there's not a lot of time to think about what your parents are thinking, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I bet you Brandon thinks he doesn't want to hear about that anymore either, right? Does it ever bring you guys together? Obviously, some of that outside noise, hey, you know, there's so much attention always paid to La Cueva. Do you guys use that as a motivating tool, or are you guys just in your process?
I mean, I know we have used outside talk about us as motivation, but I personally just try and stay away from anybody that's not a La Cueva person.
Right.
What they say doesn't matter to me.
And before last year, obviously, when people were starting to say, hey, it's not going to happen in APS anymore. The championship's not going through APS or through the city anymore. It's going to be down south, or it's going to be Cleveland or Rio Rancho. Is that something, that kind of noise, stuff you ever hear, or is that just outside noise that you guys try to avoid?
That's the type of stuff that we just don't think about. We always come in with the expectation that we're going to be a really good team, win as many games as we can.
All right, so we're going to take our first time out here on Local Focus. When we come back with Dylan, talk about what you did during the summer a little bit, and we will recap last year. It was just a step short, but a phenomenal season on your part. We'll be right back.
Duke City Sports Bar, proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. Catch all the sports action from high school, college, pros, and MMA on one of our 35 HD TVs. Start your night off right with any selection from our delicious menu prepared with fresh, never frozen ingredients. Duke City Sports Bar, Albuquerque's newest sports bar. Located on Eubank and Montgomery, dial 505-433-4020.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Hey, welcome back to Local Focus. It's football week here on ProView Networks. Hopefully you'll join us for all of our opening week coverage on ProView Networks, Comcast Channel 26. If you haven't done so already, make sure you get your network pass on the NFHS network. Catch all the action. One game I'm pretty excited about for week 1 is I think I'm going to have the call for Rio Grande Highland. I think that streak is finally going to get snapped. I think Rio Grande might get them week 1. Do you want to opine on that real quick?
We can only hope. It's just such a hard thing because those guys are definitely working hard like everybody else, and that's just I hope they can break that streak.
So go to our website, absolutely check out all of our broadcast schedule. We're with quarterback Dylan Summer of the La Cueva Bears. Let's talk about last season. Obviously, you guys came a step short, but it was a great year for you as a team and you as an individual. But in camp, no one knew who the quarterback at La Cueva was going to be week 1, and that's pretty rare. Usually that position is set at La Cueva. Talk about maybe some stuff that we didn't know as the media. What was going on there in that quarterback competition? Who were you competing against? It came down to the end. Tell us about it.
The other guy came in during the summer. I don't really want to name drop him so Coach Back doesn't get mad at me, but he came in during the summer. He had played for us as a freshman, and he wanted to play again because he moved back from Colorado and he wanted to play again. And he was learning the system coming through. We were battling out all summer, just working hard. And that really pushed both of us to get better as a team. And then the day before the first game, we both get called in one at a time to the film room in the coach's office. And Coach Back, I was first, and Coach Back sits me down and says, "You're going to be the starter this week." And that was that.
Now, he said you're going to be the starter this week. So does that put some pressure on you to, hey, okay, I could lose this thing. This is a week-by-week thing. Or were you pretty comfortable that you were going to lead the team?
Once I had his vote of confidence for that first week, it really let me know where we stood as an offensive unit, I guess. And I don't know, I felt really good about where I was at with everybody.
Now, you did mention that it was the day before it was late. So did you have any inkling that you were going to be, was there ever a situation where one of you felt more comfortable than the other, or were you guys just as out in the dark as the rest of us?
There were days where I was like, wow, he's doing really well. I don't know where I'm at. And then there were other days I was like, okay, I'm doing really good today. This feels great. Coach is happy. Everything's going good. And I guess I had more of those than the other way around. But he never really told us, like, during the summer, hey, you're ahead right now, I guess.
So that's something, obviously, that's going on at UNM. Well, I should say goes on at UNM every year, right?
Yeah.
With the quarterback situation. So how hard is that when there's obviously a position to be had? How hard is that to root for your other guy, but still making sure, hey, you want to beat this guy. You want to lead these guys. How hard is that? Talk about that.
I mean, I've been friends with him for a while. It was tough because neither of us ever talked about it. So it was always just a silent on the football field thing, and we just pushed each other to get better. And I feel, in my mind, it was just whoever's better for the team is going to play. and I was okay with that.
And another aspect of that would be the leadership role on the team. Obviously, not knowing who's going to be the quarterback until week 1. Maybe you guys are probably a couple of weeks behind every other team where the quarterback can start to lead his guys during practice. Well, you guys don't know who the guy's going to be, and then you have to build that leadership starting in week 1. Talk about that. And obviously, that's kudos to you because you guys had such a great season not knowing who the starter was going to be until the very end.
I had the very fortunate opportunity of having some great senior leaders already in place for me, like Ryan McClain and Reese last year. So I didn't have to be the guy,
Right.
like most quarterbacks end up being. So I had them to lean on for leadership type things, and that was just a great thing for me because it took some pressure off there.
You mentioned the leadership, the guy. So I talked to Coach Back a little bit at practice, and we talked about that exact thing, and we mentioned some of those exact names, and I asked him about that. And one of the things that really struck me that he said, and I'll clean it up for television, of course.
That's Coach Back.
Is this is a really nice group of kids. These are all good guys. And he said, usually every team needs a jerk that's not afraid to police his teammates, that's not afraid to slap somebody around and get them back in line. And that was his concern, that hey, if we don't have an alpha male step up here, these kids might be too nice. Is that something that ever, do you ever think about that? I mean, how do you lead this team?
I don't really think about that. I would describe my leadership as by example. I'm not really the loud, get mad at everybody, yell at you type of leader. I just do my job the best I can, and if that rubs off on other guys, that's great. But
so who's that alpha that he was talking about? Who are those alphas that are missing? Obviously, that graduated.
definitely Ryan McClain was. Derek Lloydell had his days where he was that guy. I know Reese was the guy for the offense, and it was just great having them.
And do you see some guys maybe potentially stepping into those shoes? It's hard to tell. You've had 3-4 practices, right, this week? So
our linebackers are great at it for sure, and our Connor O'Toole is going to be a good leader on the receiver side.
now let's go back one step to Ryan McClain and Derek Lloydell, because obviously we covered the team a lot. Seemed like you guys were the game of the week every week.
Yeah.
We certainly heard that from other teams, but those are some hard hitters. If Derek Lloydell or Ryan McClain were in the studio right now, do you think if they tackled me or our director Josh, do you think we could get up? Because it looked like those guys were just hitting harder than everyone else in the city.
No,
Did you get hit? Did you feel those guys?
A couple times I made Derek mad at practice, so that didn't go too well for me. Coach Back was real upset because he was afraid that he was going to hurt me.
Yeah,
so
Coach Back has to protect his quarterback, right?
Yeah.
It just looked. I mean, from a sideline perspective, obviously I'm on the sideline there for that game of the week usually, and even from a television perspective, it just looked like more so than anyone else in the city, those two guys just hit the crap out of people.
They were some big, heavy dudes flying around.
Do you have anyone that physical on the team right now, or is that something that you think that's pretty special, that's hard to replace? Obviously, they got the guys that are going on at the next level to play some form at the next level, so obviously they were pretty special.
Yeah, at that level that those guys were at, maybe our inside linebackers, Fred Mady and Lawrence Bussey, but we'll just have to see how that goes for them this season. I know they've got the talent, but
what kind of numbers are you guys putting up in the weight room? Some of those guys like Bussey and Boomer and.
I know Boomer's squatting and deadlifting 400 plus and benching 300. I don't know about Lawrence, but I know he's a big, strong guy too.
All right, so now to take us in the season. Obviously, you're comfortable as the starter. When did you guys realize, okay, man, we're going to make a deep run here? Did that come right away, or did it click later? In your mind, when did that happen?
It was before the season even started.
Okay.
We knew we were a great team. We could feel it. There was something special about last year. Even though we came up a little bit short, we knew before the season started we were going to make something special happen.
Anything stick out from the regular season?
Regular season, definitely the second game against Cleveland, we were like, oh, okay, this is what we are. Like, this is how good we are. And that was really the launching point for the rest of the season.
Let's talk about that El Dorado rivalry, because that's always pretty intense. I don't know if that rivalry is cooler in the stands or on the field, because it gets pretty crazy in the stands. El Dorado's got that, whatever that crap is they throw up. I just go the other way because I don't want it to get on my suit.
Yeah.
But they got that they throw up. You guys have some pretty creative signs in there. Talk about what it's like on campus during that rivalry week.
Campus is always crazy. People are always asking us, hey, how's this week going to go? What's going to happen? And everybody's just excited and getting ready to come out and watch that game because it's just crazy for everybody.
Because I've heard people tell me that, hey, it's not really the way it used to be. These kids all play Yaffle together. They all play Little League together on the baseball side. They're actually all friends. There's usually not a lot of them that don't like each other. So the rivalry is, while it's great, it's not one of those these guys don't like each other rivalry. Talk about that.
I know last year for sure there were definitely some differences off the field that were had between our senior class and
All right,
some of
that's
their
the good
guys.
stuff we want to hear about. So share.
I don't know about all of that, but for sure this year I know I'm friends with a bunch of those guys, and I don't think there's that same like hatred, but it's still going to be a good game. We're both going to go out there and
So no one's
make
sneaking
something
on
of
the
it.
other campus at night to vandalize mascots. That stuff, does that happen anymore?
No, not really. I know it's happened in previous years,
Right.
but not.
And then on game day, of course, the stands are full. Talk about that rivalry game on game day.
That's just such a great feeling walking out and seeing everybody in the stands ready to cheer for the team. And it's just a cool atmosphere because it gets loud, obviously, with all those people in the stands.
Does anything change during the week, during that rivalry week? I mean, does Brandon, ever mention it? Does he have a little rivalry with Coach Dotson there, or is it just another week?
Up until the pregame speech in the locker room, he tries to treat it like every single other game, pretend like we aren't rivals and that it's not a big deal to everybody.
And then the pregame speech, what's that like?
He gets fired up, everybody goes crazy, we run out onto the field. It's great.
All right, so obviously that has to be a highlight every year as well then.
Yeah, of course. That's always a big one, and usually if we beat El Dorado, it's a good season.
And now does that trickle into other sports on campus as well? Is that a year-round thing where you're like, all right, we got them in football, they got us in basketball, okay, now baseball's the tiebreaker. Is it something like that? Or
There are definitely people who keep track. I know that's a big thing for some of the other students, and they make sure everybody knows what the score is.
Okay, so do you have a memorable rivalry moment against El Dorado?
I actually didn't even play in the game. My sophomore year, 2 years ago,
Right.
when we came out and beat them in the second half, and that was just a crazy. I think it was a comeback, but I just remember the seniors getting so worked up about it, and they made it happen. It was
Do
cool.
you ever catch yourself look either before the game or maybe at halftime, just kind of getting that peek into the stands? Because I'll tell you what, you guys have some pretty creative signs in the stands always. Your fans are on it. You ever catch yourself looking?
Definitely pregame.
Yeah.
I take the time to look up there,
All
like,
right.
hey, what's going on? But during the game, it's all business.
All right, we're going to take another time out here on Local Focus. We're with La Cueva quarterback Dylan Summer. When we come back, we'll do a top 5 list as usual. We'll go into the playoffs and talk about the playoffs in that championship game. We'll be right back.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. Car Crafters, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that could happen? No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters! It's like it never happened!
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of ProView Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Hey, welcome back to Local Focus. It's football week here at ProView Networks. Hopefully, you've already purchased your NFHS Network Pass so you can catch all these games. It's always a crazy opening week around here. So much coverage to be had. And our first My 50 game of the week will feature my guests, La Cueva Bears. I'm with Dylan Summer, quarterback of the La Cueva Bears. Now, let's go through the playoffs. Obviously, every championship's special, but when you can run through El Dorado, avenge that Cleveland game, and then you have another district rival in Manzano, that's got to be a little bit extra special, right?
That was a great run we made. It was just crazy each week, making sure we went out there and did our best.
So let's start with El Dorado. So having a rival in the playoffs, is that something does it matter? Is it, oh man, we have a district opponent here. Would you rather see someone else, or are you pretty happy with, okay, we know what these guys are bringing to the table, district rivals, obviously. Charlie's probably not going to surprise Brandon. Brandon's probably not going to surprise Charlie. At least all the cards are on the table. Talk about that from a player's perspective.
Well, actually, they had a good game plan for us. They switched some stuff up, made a bunch of changes that really stumped us in the first few possessions. But that game was like the district game times 2. It was way more important and just as crazy in the stands and on the field, and it was just a great game.
So you get past the Eagles, and then you have Cleveland again. Talk about the mindset of the team, the preparation that week.
Well, the El Dorado game was actually when I tore my ACL, so
right.
I was out for the Cleveland game.
Were you still around the roster? Or,
Yeah, I was there every day.
What was going on during the week? And obviously, what's your role then? Because you're getting someone else ready to play, and you're still around. So first of all, how did the guys react to you being injured, and then your role that week?
I know everybody was a bit upset, pretty hurt that I was hurt because they felt like that was a big loss. But I knew that Austin could come in and hold it down for that week. I was basically the second quarterback's coach, just hanging out, making sure he knew what was going on every play in practice. And he's a good quarterback, so I knew he was going to get it right.
What else? Obviously, Cleveland, a familiar foe, a really high caliber team, quality team, great coach on the other side. Is there ever, this is going to sound like a stupid journalist question, but is there ever extra preparation when you face a team that you know that has that pedigree and that coaching and those guys? Or is it just business as usual?
I felt like that week we knew what they were going to do, and we really didn't do too much extra. We just treated it like another game, and that's all Coach Back did during the whole postseason was this is just another game, even though we all knew it wasn't. But the pedigree to Cleveland, yeah, they're a great school. They've been good at football for the past several years since they've opened. We knew what they were going to do, and we felt like we could handle that.
And then, of course, we go to the championship game. First of all the talk during the week was, hey, is this game going to be played at Wilson? Are they going to try to move it to accommodate a bigger crowd? Talk about, as a player, you get out there, and I've never seen that many people at Wilson. That had to be pretty cool.
That was probably the best moment that whole year, was coming out and like an hour before the game, the stands are already filling up on both sides. Like, people are starting to fill in the whole, every section, and we haven't even come out for warm-ups. Like,
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned that because I'm at Artesia getting ready to do a title game there, and Adam texts me a photo of the crowd. And that's probably the first time that a crowd at Wilson has filled in bigger and earlier than a crowd at the Bulldog Bowl. And I was like, wow, that's going to be a really special. I couldn't wait to get home that night. We didn't get home from Artesia till after midnight, but I watched the replay that night, and that was just electric. Talk about that on the field, because the electricity on the screen, you could feel it, but what was that like on the field?
the whole place was shaking. Like, it was just crazy seeing people out standing on the track. Like, I did not expect it to actually be standing room only, but it
you
was.
only hear that, right? And then it actually happens.
It really was. And there was just people everywhere. So the whole game, like, I could look into the crowd no matter where we were looking on the field. And it was just, it was real loud, for sure.
And and that's what Jordan Bird said when he was on the show. He said he couldn't hear a thing. For him, he said it was just an experience, but he certainly couldn't hear a lot of play calling, things like that. Talk about that. Did you experience that same thing?
We do mostly hand signals, so I got all the play calls, but I knew I had to call it out to the linemen, and I had to get up close to every single one of them because I knew they couldn't hear me. And that was it was just weird because I knew that if I didn't go up and get close, they weren't going to hear me. And then our coaches were getting mad about the tempo because I had to go tell every lineman what the call was.
Right. And then, oh, by the way, it was a great game. So
yeah,
just talk about that a little bit.
That just made it even crazier. It was back and forth the whole time. Both defenses were just great in that game.
That play at the goal line, what was going through your mind there?
Which one?
The close one where you didn't know if that was going to be a touchdown. And
the touchdown that should have been.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind there?
I actually wasn't even on the field, so I was just watching from the sideline, hoping that we would get in. And then it's just a big mass of people, so I couldn't tell what happened. And until I saw the replay, I didn't really know what actually happened down there.
Right. And then after the game, obviously you guys came up short, but I had DeMarcus Sutphin on last week, and he talked about when they came up short, it was immediately the next morning, the next season started, we're going to take the next step the next year. What happened with you guys? Same kind of thing?
I don't know if it was the next morning, but very quick after, we were right back in the weight room getting after it. Coach Back did not give us that much time to think about it or be sad. It was just, all right, cool, that's done. We're right back into it.
All right, very quickly, we got to do our top 5 list. So we're gonna run you through the ringer quick. Top 5 sports movies of all time. Number 5.
Number 5, The Sandlot.
All right, that was a good choice. 4.
Bad News Bears.
All right, 3.
3.
How about, I remember the Titans was on right after I got home from
Remember
two-a-days.
the Titans is definitely number 1.
Okay, all right. So you spoiled number 1 already. All right.
What?
You're probably too young to
name.
appreciate Caddyshack, right? You're too young for that?
Yeah, that was before my time. I'm blanking on the name. They're in the prison. It's a football team.
All right. Okay, I got you. But your number 1 is Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans, head and shoulders above all else.
All right. That's LaQuava quarterback Dylan Summer. Hopefully a very successful and healthy year. Stay healthy, and thanks so much for coming in this week.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Enjoy your football coverage right here on ProView Networks, and we'll see you next week.